see everyone. It's been a few weeks since I've been here, and we are headed into the Halloween season, right? And so where do most mummies like to go for vacation? The Dead Sea. How do you fix a leaky pumpkin? A pumpkin patch. You want one more, or should I stop? One more. Okay. You get me on a roll, it's dangerous. What kind of pants does a psychic wear? Oh, come on, guys. A paranormal pants. All right, so speaking of frightening and perhaps even ghoulish times, in case you didn't know, we are in a presidential election season, right? Unless you've really literally been under a rock and don't know that. And anyone who knows me knows that I don't mind getting into the fray of political discussion and debate. I always keep it civil, but I kind of like that. You know, that's my shtick. But this time, it's such an unusual season this time that I am finding it really interesting to kind of take a step back and look at it from more of the perspective of what might be the metaphysics behind this? What is going on in this time of upheaval? And that song could not be more perfect. It's like, what is going on? And it's literally in our culture right now, and I have people in my family who have polar opposite political views to mine. In our culture right now, we literally have large swaths of the population that are living very different versions of reality. So much so, and I pay so much attention to this, that it causes me to step back and look at my own beliefs and assumptions. What am I believing? Am I buying into some illusion or not? Now, I have very strong views on who to vote for and deep concern about if the other candidate wins. And I have good friends who feel exactly those feelings on the other side of that choice. It's just as real for both sides. That's a trip, right? That's a trip because we feel like we're right? So humans navigate this human part of our journey via a river of perceptions. Incoming, we bump into something comes in, and we jump to a judgment about it. We're wired for this. And we have an innate, strong default program to believe that our perceptions are accurate, even when they're not. So for example, you've had experiences like this, I think. You're walking down a trail at dusk, and all of a sudden there's this big snake, and you stop, and your heart jumps. And then you look closer, and it's a rope. It's a piece of rope, right? This is why myself included, people like to put rubber snakes out and watch people jump. It's fun, but the reality is nothing in the material world has changed. Our perception of what is before us has changed. Our brains are wired to do this. Back in the day, it probably was a survival strategy to believe that rustling sound was a saber-toothed tiger coming through the bushes instead of just the breeze moving the leaves. But now today, in the modern, industrialized, media-saturated culture that we're all navigating, that one-time survival trait can cause a lot of anxiety and a lot of conflict. We are in a situation right now in the US where the entire culture is awash in misinformation. And just by the way, I wrote about this too. We should really be looking at returning the fairness doctrine so that media cannot create the silos that we've created. I'm just saying. And so it got me to thinking about, again, what is the metaphysics of this? Now, in Hindu philosophy, there's a concept of Maya. It's M-A-Y-A. And what that refers to is this idea that the physical world that we see before us is illusory, that there's some sort of a deeper reality than what we're picking up with our physical senses. Every indigenous tradition that I have any experience with has a kind of compatible belief to that there is a level of reality beyond what we just happen to see. For example, like animal medicine, they believe that animals and even rocks and mountains and rivers have not only their own souls and reasons for existing, but that they actually can be a guide to humans. It's a fun way to go through the world. I do that myself, you know. It's more fun. The Aboriginal folks from Australia, they have a concept known as dream time. This is hard for English language or Western mindset to even capture it, but it includes the concepts of every win. And everything is sacred and alive and is telling a story. So this concept of this rational, what we think we see and feel right before us being the be-all and end-all, that's only been around for a very small sliver of human existence, very small sliver of Western human existence. A Course in Miracles, which is one of my main spiritual go-tos, it talks about the world and the real world. And the world, it describes as being this construct that we create based on our perceptions, usually misperceptions. And the real world is a correction. It too is a symbol, but it's a correction for the misperceptions that we've overlaid onto this reality that we're navigating. I think similarly, you know, when Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within, he's talking about a state of consciousness. He's talking about there's more going on than just what we're seeing before us in this one little human part of the journey. Now, we do have a tendency, as I mentioned, to have humans have a fairly rigid and narrow vision. And we tend to believe we're right. We're also very anthropocentric. It's like everything, we view everything through the lens of humans, right? But consider some of our fellow beings that we share this planet with. Whales, dolphins, even dogs, they can hear on a spectrum that we can't even register. We can't even pick it up. Butterflies taste with their feet. Isn't that cool? Yeah, they taste with their feet. If you were a shark sitting right there, right now, and someone reached over to grab their prayer claim form, your ampullae of Lazari, I'm not saying this exactly right, ampullae of Lorenzini would send a little electric pulse through your body. You'd be registering the electrical currents put off by the beings around you. There's so much more going on, even on this one planet that we're in. Quantum science tells us that everything is in motion, including these bodies that seem solid. We're made up as much of space as we are solid matter, right? That's a trip to think about that. I love that kind of stuff. The evolution of consciousness, we can track it. Historically, the evolution of consciousness happens through senses beyond the physical that we don't even understand yet. Light bulbs go on. I have now lived long enough to have many direct experiences of moving in between different realities based on my perceptions and shifting perceptions. And when I first began to kind of crack open and let in this concept that maybe this is illusory, it rattled me because I was like, I have been a lifelong professional environmentalist. I have had a lifelong mission and commitment and spent God knows how much time and money trying to protect those wonderful, magical creatures that I was just talking about. If all of this is illusion, does it make any sense to be working for that stuff, right? That kind of rattles your very identity. And over time, though, I'm learning that there's a really important subtlety, and this is what I really want to share today because it's kind of a growing edge, I think, for my own understanding of how to dance with this. And it's a distinction between illusion and unreal. So consider nightmares. You're having a nightmare, there's a monster chasing you, and you're in this nightmare, you're running, and you're scared, and it's breathing down your neck, you know, and it's like your body's jerking around in your bed, and all that's going on. Then you wake up, And it's like, oh, shoo, shoo, that was just a nightmare. Well, the monster was actually an illusion, and you weren't actually being chased. But that dream was real, right? That was really a perception that was going on. Think about applying that to what we sometimes see in this world before us. It's real in that it's happening, but actually it is based in illusion. It is based in perception or imagination. Now, this is a nuanced distinction between the nature of Maya, M-A-Y-A, and illusion, because illusion typically refers to something that doesn't exist. Maya is both existent and non-existent at the same time, like that dream. That dream was real, but the monster in it wasn't. Does this make any sense? This is kind of a hard concept to get across, but I've been enjoying dancing with it. So if you think about it, humans have a built-in ability to pull our consciousness back from illusion. We do it over and over and over again. You do it when you recognize you've misread a street sign. You thought the street sign said Hatfield and it really says Hatchery Road, whatever. You do it when you realize that you've jumped to a false assumption and been wrong, right? Any of us with partners, we do that occasionally. These are these, yeah, right? These are kind of these these awake awakenings is what I call it. It's kind of like we're in a little dream. We're awake, but we're in a little dream, and then we realize, oh, shoot, that wasn't really what I thought it was. This happens over and over and over again, and we also have these collectively. So we did that when suddenly the bulk of humanity said, you know what, the earth isn't flat. Who'd have thunk it? You can't fall off, right? Or, yes, huge, heavy machines can fly. More recently, it's like, my gosh, you know what? It really is possible to send unbelievable amounts of data, invisible data through the invisible ethers and have it show up on the other side of the globe. These were all collective shifts in consciousness. I've now reached a point where I find dancing with Maya, kind of being able to sit in this area of paradox, of the real and the unreal, it's really fun. And it makes my life richer and much more playful. I love a thing in A Course in Miracles. It says when you're facing a situation, particularly one that you don't like very well, to just take a step back and say, maybe there is a different way to look at this. What have I got to lose by asking? That's a profound shift I'm finding in my own life. I've gotten to the point now where sometimes I got a thorny little problem I'm dealing with or whatever, and I'll start to get worked up about it, and then I'll just be like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's going to be so fun seeing how it happens. It's going to be so cool to see how this sorts itself out. It always does. Now, on many levels, humanity, our country, our world, we are in a phase of great disruption and change. And on the one hand, we are continuously having incredible breakthroughs in technology and in knowledge and whatnot. And on the other hand, a lot of that technology and knowledge is doing a lot of damage to one another, to our planet, etc. We are in a time when old systems and norms are crumbling. And Nico, if you could pull up that paradox slide, that'd be great. So this is from my previous career as an environmental and system change professional, and I want to explain this. So this curve that starts on the left, let's just say that you are a business, and you're growing your sales curve. That's the one on the left, right? You're growing, it's growing, your sales are growing and growing and growing, and then you reach that point at the top that becomes the point of diminishing returns. It means if you don't change something up in your business model, your business is going to start to decline. Now, healthy businesses, or I would argue healthy cultures, societies, when that starts to happen, they start to build the next model. They start to build the next system. The challenge is, For a time, those both coexist. You can't quite see what the fully new thing is going to be. Remnants of the old thing are still there. This is called the area of paradox. And it's a time of uncertainty and stress and often conflict. Does that sound familiar? Does that seem like maybe that's where we are at in the United States today and right now? I think so. Now, this is where also, when we're dancing in paradox, where I think our unity principles are so incredibly valuable. You know, the concept that God is in and through all things, including us. We are tentacles on the octopus of God, y'all. We have individual suckers, but we're all connected, right? Those of you who know me know that I am addicted to dog agility. And I'm politically outspoken. Turns out, even in my lovely world of dog agility in the Pacific Northwest, we have some very different political viewpoints. And some of us know very clearly who we are and who's on which side of the aisle on this. And I was at a competition this last weekend, and two of my favorite agility friends, we had some exchanges over Facebook. Always civil, by the way. And it was awkward. Do you know this feeling? Like we saw each other, we come in and we're looking at each other and it's like, forced high. You know, it's a little awkward, right? Because it's like, I can't believe that person believes that way, right? And then over the course of 2 days, all three of us, did our thing to make sure that the friendship stayed open. And right at the end, one of these women came over. I was sitting down on one of the chairs on the ringside. She came over, she put her arm around me, and I said, "Oh, am I in your chair?" She said, "No, I just want to let you know I'm your friend." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. We can have differences and be friends." Right? That's a unity principle in action right there. That's choosing love. That's choosing how I'm going to think not only about this person, but I'm choosing consciously to stay open. These are helpful right now. We don't have to make a choice between being aware and informed of, and even angry at kind of what's gone mad, and also holding that area of paradox to stay open to love and kindness and celebration, to beauty that can bring tears to our eyes. I want to read you, Marianne Williamson sent out a post recently, and I'm just going to read a paragraph from it because I think it's fantastic. She also has a publication on Substack. Hers is called Transcend, and it's really good. She says, "There's not a choice to be made, only a paradox to be recognized and responsibility to be accepted. For every point at which the world has gone mad, it's simply life crying out for us to be the people and do the things that will make it right. The world will tell you you're a crazy person to think it's possible. Don't crumble, just prove them wrong." I love that. We have the ability to open to deeper truths, deeper levels of consciousness when we're willing to kind of face and dispel our own illusions, challenge our own assumptions, to choose to see both sides of the curve, the old and the new, because we're the ones who are creating it, right? Having to navigate these wild, precious, and precarious times is a challenge. I think it's also a gift, you guys. I really do. I think the more we can navigate this in ways that take the high road, in ways that speak truth to power, call BS out where it needs to be called out, but in a loving and respectful way, we will build that new curve faster and better. You are here now for a reason. Namaste.